And a happy Monday morning to everybody out there in the online world. It's a wonderfully rainy day here in Southwest Missouri at the Fire Squasher Studios, the 357 Studios. If you can tell, I'm a little loopy this morning, trying to get my coffee in. So it was a huge day or huge weekend in sports. Uh, I'm not the huge football fan that I used to be, but I guess it was a really big weekend. Some really good games happening. Uh, First off, Tom Brady has made it back to the Super Bowl with a different team. It was not all the Patriots. Congratulations to the Buccaneers for getting past Green Bay. I didn't notice the final score, but I said I've got a lot of friends that watch a lot of football, so saw a lot of hype and a lot of comments on social media. So that was a big game. The other one, the Chiefs versus the Bills. I know there was a lot of my friends that were concerned about the Chiefs not being able to get past the Bills. And it might have been a offensive shootout, but apparently they handled them quite well. Really high scoring game from what I saw. So congratulations to the Chiefs and the Buccaneers as they head to the Super Bowl. At least we're getting back to some normalcy. The football playoffs have happened. We're getting ready to have the championship game. So that's really great. Congratulations to both those teams. In my world and in the racing fans' world, this weekend was the big kickoff to sports car racing in North America. Truly the official start to any racing season in North America, unless you count the Chili Bowl a couple weeks ago. IMSA took off in Daytona this weekend. We had the prototype challenge that ran on Saturday that I was watching. It was rainy down there. It was actually a really good race. There was a few crashes from some people that are still getting some experience and learning how to drive the cars. Uh, but they're building a new subdivision over by where we're at, and they shut our power off twice. And it's starting to rain really hard here. So I'm in a sunroom. So if you hear rain in the background, I apologize. But it's rainy. But yeah, the prototype challenge was watching it, enjoying getting to see cars on track competing again, and they shut my power off twice so that they could hook it into this new subdivision. I kind of got a little aggravated because of, I've got new PC builds and they were both up and running. My son and I were both streaming, and power went off. So it was wonderfully amazing. But it was great to see cars on the track. And then yesterday, the IMSA WeatherTech series, the big series that has now three classes of prototypes in their races, the DPI, LMP2, and LMP3, along with the sports cars, the GTLM and GTD classes. So GT Le Mans, GT Daytona, which is ones that has like your Corvettes, your Porsches, your Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all of them on the track at the same time. They had the Motul 100 pole race, which was a new addition for this year. And so they were racing for starting positions instead of doing the normal, go run 5, 10, 15 minutes out on the track. Whoever has the best laps times gets the pole for the Rolex 24. But they actually raced for it this year, and it was a great race to enjoy. Congratulations to the number 31 Wheelan engineering team for getting the pole. Felipe Nazar, got to meet him a couple of years ago down in Daytona when I took my son there for the Rolex 24. Great guy. Love to watch him drive. And it's also good to see Corvette up there. If you've ever watched some of my video game streams that I've started doing again, I've got the new C8R as my background. I love Corvettes. It's great to see them up running well again. For the last several years, as they wound down the C7 program, getting ready for the C8, the Corvettes didn't do too great. They were always close in the championship because they were very reliable, but they just didn't have the speed compared to some of the other cars. So it's great to see Corvette back up there, running, taking the pole, carrying the speed. Next weekend is the Rolex 24. I will be watching lots and lots of the 24-hour race. I usually watch 16 to 18 hours at least. It's been a few years since I actually stayed awake to watch all 24. but I really love watching the endurance racing and the multi-class racing because it's really crazy to watch the prototypes get out there and come off the infield and chase down a GTE car, where they're just flying by Porsches and Ferraris and Corvettes. Yeah, it's crazy, and those guys are like crazy talented. Not to put down any other racing, because anybody that's driving 175, 200 miles an hour, and controlling one of these cars, they're super talented. You can't say they're not athletes, because you got to see how these guys are shaking and sweating when they get out of the cars and losing, 10 to 15 pounds a race in sweat, and your heart racing, well over 120 to 150 beats a minute for hours on end. So these guys are athletes, but to watch these guys take these cars that have so much a speed difference and such a closing rate, and be able to race for 24 hours without a major incident, every time they come up on a slower car. These guys are super talented, and it's fun to watch. It's really great to watch live. So if you ever get a chance to go to a multi-class sports car event, whether it's held by IMSA or the I forgot what it's called now. It used to be the American Trans Am Series, but they're still racing. I think it's Trans Am Series again, but they race across the country. We got multi-classes with different speeds. These guys are great and a lot of control. But anyway, we got the testosterone running this morning, and I just want to hit on today's going to be maybe a little bit shorter on just the talking part, because really the only sports that happened this weekend were racing and football. I'm hyped up about the racing. I could talk about it forever, and the rain's really going to come down now while I'm trying to talk. But it just reminds me this weekend, there's a lot. This was a testosterone-fueled weekend, and with the current climate and culture in the country and around the world, there's a lot of men that don't feel like they can be themselves. There's also a term that I feel doesn't need to be used, or is used in the wrong context. It's the term toxic masculinity. To me, really the only toxic masculinity out there in the world, I'm not going to say only, because there are toxic men out there, but the main toxic masculinity is the absence of masculinity. I think that, men should be men. We should also be loving and honoring. In fact, that's kind of what we're going to hit a verse of the day again real quick today. It's from 1 Corinthians 16, verses 13 and 14. It says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong, and let all that you do be done in love." So there's nothing wrong with beating your chest, having the testosterone flowing, grunting like Tim Allen used to do on Home Improvement. And if you don't know that show, then I'm just dating myself, and you're too young, and you need to go try to find it somewhere on a streaming service. But men need to be men. I'm a car guy, and that's how I get my testosterone out, by watching racing, working on cars. I am a gamer, so I play on the Xbox, I play on the PC, with my son. That's how my son and I are really connecting right now, which is great. But I also like using the chainsaw. I like working on cars. We need to be men, guys. If you're watching this on Twitch, or you're catching the stream or something, or if you're catching me while I'm streaming on a video game, that's great. Enjoy things that you enjoy, but be a man. Do everything you can in love. Love the people around you. If you have kids, love your kids strongly. Show them you love them. Don't just ignore them. Take time. Get off of the electronics for a while. Sit with them. Read with them. Take them out. Go on a walk with them. Throw a football instead of just watching football. Take them out. Raise the hood on the car. Learn how to change your oil if you don't know how to do it. Learn how to change your brakes if you don't know how to do it. That'll save you a lot of money in the long run anyway. But there's just something about being able to do something like that on your own that I've been able to connect with my son a lot. And really, when I'm feeling really stressed or really have a lot of anxiety, getting out and doing something manly, and I use that term as in using it, like I said, using a chainsaw, working on a car, throwing a football, playing golf, getting away from the things that just hold me in place, where I just sit and do nothing. I get out and be active. Do something you enjoy away from a computer, away from a video game console. And I know you're watching this either on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, but you got to take the time for your spouses, for your significant others, for your kids. Go out and do stuff with them. Go hike, go walk, just go do something that gets your blood pumping and let that testosterone flow, and see where it evolves. Be men, but do it in love. And that's the other side of toxic masculinity. A man should never raise his hand against a woman under any condition. Now, if a woman is hitting you or doing things, you can defend yourself and stop it and try to calm the situation down and talk through it. But a man should never, ever, ever raise his hand against a woman. And that's by doing things. And that's what I feel like doing things in love really means. Do it in love. Do everything you do in love. Working on the car, do it in love for your significant other or for your kids. If you're single, don't have any kids, don't have a girlfriend, you know what? That's fine. Do everything in love anyway. Go out and help somebody. Do something in love. But be strong. Be a man. Make a difference in the world around you. Don't just sit on your backside on the computer all the time. I struggle with this, and I'm still trying to get back over it. I've started running again. I've started making time to get away from the video game systems, to do stuff with my kids, to work on cars. In fact, I've got a car that I'm working on for my daughter who's getting ready to get her driver's license, which is very scary. But we had to sit down. To just give you an example, my wife and I had to sit down this weekend and have a good conversation with her, because she is a little bit fearful about getting her driver's license and about getting in a wreck or what other people are doing out on the road. And so we had to talk to her about it and try to get rid of some of that fear. And being a dad, I had to constantly apologize, because I'm a type A personality when it comes to situations like that. So I had to do it in love and try to talk her through some of the fear and explain to her sometimes when you have stuff like that in front of you, you just have to slowly do it, take baby steps, move forward and not stop, so that, you can be a man and help people without being forceful. And you sometimes have to pull back your reins of your own natural tendencies, but you really, really have to do everything in love. Don't do it out of malice. Don't do it out of hate. Get up off your butt. Go do something that makes you feel like a man. Get that testosterone flowing, and the more you do it, the better you'll feel. So anyway, it's about time to head off to work for me. Those of you that might have been watching this or following very much know that this is not my full-time job. It's just something I like doing on the side. If it ever starts making me money, great. If not, you know what? I hope we can change somebody's life for the better. So, guys, I hope you have a great week. Maybe we'll get back on here again. We hit a couple last week, but last week was kind of a weird week in the world, so we had to talk. Glad we kept politics out of it today. I'm really excited to go without politics for a while, even though there's a lot of political stuff still happening in the world. I just want to talk about our daily lives. So if you have any questions, comments, or would have topics that you'd like to talk about, you can either message me on Twitch, FireSquasher357, or you can email me. It's forgedwithfireonline, one word. You can see it down there in the corner, forgedwithfireonline @gmail.com. Send me comments, questions, topics you'd like to talk about, and we'd be glad to cover it. And I'm going to use Dave Ramsey's term today, or his line today. The only way to have a life of peace is to know the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. So guys, have a great day. Have a great week. We hope to see you soon.